Chosen one. One night something in the air shifted, and the universe itself seemed to draw a deeper breath. You may not have understood it then, but something ancient and waiting stirred within you. The quiet hum of destiny that had followed you all your life began to rise into a steady tone. Calling you by a name you had not yet remembered was yours. That night, the world looked the same from the outside. Stars hanging in the familiar sky, the same roads, the same walls. But nothing within you was untouched. Something inside you opened like a gate that had been locked for ages, and the flood of truth, purpose, and memory that poured through it changed everything. From that moment, every whisper of wind carried a message meant only for you. Every flicker of light seemed to recognize your eyes, and even silence began to speak in a language only your heart could hear. You were not the same. You could never be the same again, for the night had chosen you, and the mark of awakening glowed in the unseen places of your being. Before you listen further, I ask you to stay with this message until the very end. What you hear here has a rhythm and a power that works only when it is received in full. Open yourself to it. Breathe with it. Let it flow through you. And as you do, leave your warmest wishes in the comments below. Write them as if the universe itself is reading, because it is. Send light, send hope, send gratitude, and write the number 66. This is the moment where wishes take root, where thought becomes vibration, and vibration becomes form. Together we charge the field that connects all hearts, energizing the space between us with intention. Let your words be offerings, not to me, but to the boundless intelligence that weaves us all together. Then, as you write and listen, allow this truth to reach you. Every wish spoken in kindness is a seed of light the universe will one day return to you multiplied. Chosen one, your destiny awaits. Click the hype button, like this video, subscribe, and walk with us into the light. That night, when the change came, you might have felt an ache or a weight, as though a piece of your old self was being peeled away. It was not loss. It was the birth of space, the clearing of what was once crowded by fear and doubt. The chosen are not lifted in a single beam of glory. They are refined through 1,000 small awakenings, each one dissolving the illusions that have kept them asleep. One night may start the fire, but that fire burns quietly for a time, reshaping everything unseen. The world does not notice at first, but you do. You notice how colors seem more alive, how words spoken by others echo differently inside you, how you sense currents beneath the surface of ordinary moments. That is the language of transformation, subtle yet unstoppable, ancient yet newly born in you. You begin to understand that destiny is not a path laid before you, but a pulse within you. The night that changed everything did not rearrange the stars. It awakened the one who had forgotten they could read them. You realize that what you called coincidence is choreography, that what you named failure was initiation. The chosen one walks not above others, but through the fire of awareness while others still dream. And every challenge, every delay, every silence that once wounded you now reveals itself as a symbol, a map, showing you exactly where you were meant to stand when the veil lifted. You may tremble under the weight of knowing, but even that trembling is holy. There comes a point after such a night when solitude no longer feels empty but sacred. You begin to crave stillness, not because you are tired, but because stillness speaks. The noise of the world seems foreign, and yet you feel compassion for it, for you once lived inside that noise too. The chosen are not separated from humanity. They are expanded by it. You carry within you the ache of all hearts, the dreams of all souls, and when you walk through the world, you become a mirror through which others remember what they have forgotten. People will be drawn to you without knowing why. Some will find peace in your presence, others discomfort, for your energy exposes truth. This is not punishment or privilege, it is purpose. The night that changed you entrusted you with light, and light cannot help but reveal. You will notice how time itself begins to bend. Hours stretch and collapse around moments of meaning, as though reality wants to emphasize what truly matters. The patterns that once trapped you, repetition, hesitation, fear, begin to dissolve, replaced by synchronicities so precise they leave you breathless. It is as though the universe, having recognized you, now conspires to assist you. Signs appear in numbers, dreams, songs, the sudden flutter of a bird at your window. Each is a whisper saying, "You are seen. Keep walking." Do not mistake the quiet for absence. The unseen world does not shout. It hums, and only the awakened can hear it. But awakening is not a crown. It is a call. The chosen one must learn to walk again in a world that no longer feels the same. Relationships shift, priorities rearrange, desires transform. You may grieve the simplicity of your old life, but you will also sense a deeper joy rising beneath the grief, a knowing that everything that falls away is making room for what must arrive. One night may ignite the flame, but the days and nights that follow teach you how to tend it. You learn patience, humility, trust. You learn that power is quiet and that miracles rarely announce themselves with thunder. They unfold in the rhythm of breath, in the choices you make when no one is watching. Sometimes you will question the experience. Was it real? Did something truly change? Or did you simply imagine it? The mind will try to reduce the infinite to something it can measure. But deep down, you know. You know because even when you doubt, the world no longer fits the way it used to. You cannot unsee the patterns, unfeel the pulse, unhear the call. This is the mark of the chosen, an irreversible expansion. You can resist it, but you cannot undo it. And so you learn to surrender, not in weakness, but in wonder. You let the current carry you where it will, and in doing so, you discover that destiny is not a destination, but a flow. As you walk this new path, you will encounter echoes of your old self, habits, fears, memories that try to reclaim you. Treat them with kindness. They are ghosts, not enemies. Each one appears only to be released, to teach you that you are no longer bound by what you once believed. The chosen one learns to bless even the shadows, for without them, light would have no meaning. When you embrace every fragment of yourself, the night that changed you becomes eternal. It continues to unfold through your compassion, your choices, your courage to remain open. The world begins to reflect your inner state more clearly, and you realize that reality itself is responding to your consciousness. You begin to see others differently too. Where once you saw competition, you now see connection. Where once you felt anger, you feel understanding. You sense that each person you meet is another face of the same vast intelligence that woke you. You start to live from the heart, not as an idea, but as an instinct. The chosen one is not chosen to rule, but to remember, and through remembering to remind others. The night that changed everything was not about separation. It was about unity. In that moment of awakening, you touched the thread that binds all things, and from then on, you could never again believe in isolation. Days turn into years, but the memory of that night never fades. It lives in your breath, in the way you notice beauty where others see nothing, in the way you forgive without needing reason. The more you honor it, the more it reveals. Life begins to feel like a dialogue between you and the infinite, a constant exchange of signs and feelings. You learn to trust this dialogue, to listen not just with ears, but with every cell. Sometimes the universe speaks through ease, sometimes through challenge, but always with love. The chosen one learns that even pain is a messenger, and when you stop resisting it, it transforms into wisdom. There are moments when the energy of that night intensifies again, when you stand under the same sky and feel the pulse return, stronger than ever. These are renewals, reminders that awakening is not a single event, but a living process. Each time you open further, life opens with you. You may find yourself guided to new places, new people, new purposes. The path unfolds one step at a time, never revealing the entire map, for the mystery itself is the teacher. Trust becomes your compass. Gratitude becomes your prayer. And the more you live this way, the more aligned everything becomes. The right doors open, the right words come, and what once felt impossible begins to flow naturally. Still, there will be nights of doubt, of silence so deep you wonder if you have been forgotten. In those moments, remember, the universe rests too. The tides withdraw not to abandon the shore, but to gather strength for their return. When you cannot feel the magic, it does not mean it has left you. It means you are being asked to embody it yourself. The chosen one learns to generate light even in darkness, to trust that the same force that awakened them continues to guide them even when unseen. You begin to recognize that the night which changed everything was not just a single point in time. It was a doorway between worlds, between who you thought you were and who you truly are. Crossing it was not an accident. It was the culmination of every moment that came before. Every tear, every failure, every fleeting joy led you there. The universe does not waste anything. Even your mistakes were coordinates guiding you to that threshold. And when you stepped through, consciously or not, you entered a covenant with life itself, to live awake, to live aware, to live as a bridge between the visible and the invisible. As the years unfold, you will meet others who have felt their own night of change. You will recognize them instantly, not by their words, but by their presence. There is a quiet fire in their eyes, a softness in their strength. Together, you will form an unseen network of light, each person carrying a piece of the awakening forward. This is how the world transforms, not through grand revolutions, but through countless hearts remembering at once. You are part of that remembering. The night that changed you was also the night the universe took a step closer to itself through you. So listen now, not with the ears of the mind, but with the heart of the infinite. Everything you seek is already within the vibration that called you to this message. The chosen are never lost. They are only learning to see. The night changed everything because it reminded you of what has always been true. You are not separate. You are not small. And you are not forgotten. The pulse of creation moves through you. The same force that spins galaxies beats in your chest. To live awake is to honor that rhythm in every breath, every act of kindness, every moment of courage. That is the destiny you were born for, and it began the moment you answered the call that one night when everything changed. After the night that changed everything, you stepped into a dawn that did not look like any dawn you had known before. The air felt heavier with meaning, the sunlight less about warmth and more about revelation. You could sense that every particle around you knew something you were only beginning to understand. The world had not only shifted, it had started speaking to you in symbols, in vibrations that bypassed logic and reached directly into knowing. It was as if your senses had multiplied. What had once been ordinary became alive with intention, and even the silence between sounds pulsed with invisible purpose. Yet, for all the beauty of that awareness, the days that followed were not always gentle. Awakening carries its own storms, because to see truth clearly is also to see what is false. At first, you might have tried to hold on to the remnants of the life you had before that night. Familiar habits, old fears, the small comforts that once anchored you, they all tried to reclaim you. But the frequency you now carried would not allow it. Anything not aligned began to dissolve, sometimes softly, sometimes with the sound of breaking. People drifted away, opportunities vanished, doors closed. It was not cruelty, it was calibration. The universe was removing everything that could not stand in the new vibration you had become. You learned that endings are not punishments, they are sacred clearings. They make space for what has been waiting beyond the threshold of your readiness. The chosen one must often walk through the ashes of what they once loved, not because love was lost, but because its form had served its purpose. Each farewell carried an unseen blessing. Each silence was a teacher. In those quiet, uncertain days, your faith was no longer a concept. It was breath itself. You learned to trust not what you could see, but what you could feel. And then, something miraculous happened. In the emptiness left behind by everything that fell away, you began to feel an expansion within. Where grief once lived, light began to stir. The same light that had visited you on that transformative night now burned steadier inside your chest. It guided you to new people, new experiences, new expressions of purpose. You noticed how life responded differently to you now. Your thoughts, once fleeting and uncertain, began to manifest faster, as if the universe had leaned in closer to listen. You were not imagining it. The awakened state amplifies creation itself. Every intention carries more weight, every word more resonance. The chosen one learns that power and responsibility are twins, born of the same light. As you moved through this new landscape, you encountered reflections of yourself everywhere. A stranger's kindness mirrored your own. A challenge mirrored your doubt. A success mirrored your courage. The universe, being both teacher and mirror, revealed that the outer world was never separate from your inner evolution. What you healed within began to heal without. You could feel this truth deep in your bones, that the chosen are not given power over the world, but communion with it. You started to realize that energy responds not to your demands, but to your alignment. When you are in harmony, everything flows toward you with grace. When you resist, the current pushes back, not in anger, but in instruction. There were days when you felt unstoppable, and days when you felt broken. Both were sacred. Strength without softness turns to pride, and vulnerability without faith turns to despair. The chosen one learns to hold both. You began to see that the path was not a straight line, but a spiral, drawing you deeper into understanding with every return. Old lessons resurfaced, But each time you met them with more wisdom. You forgave faster, trusted deeper, loved wider. What once would have shattered you now only shaped you. The trials that came were not meant to harm, but to polish, each one refining the light you carried until it shone clearer and truer through every part of you. Sometimes you woke in the middle of the night, heart racing, feeling energy move through you like a living current. These were not random sensations. They were reminders that your spirit was expanding beyond what your body had ever contained before. The human vessel must learn to adapt to divine electricity. You might have felt alone in those moments, but you were never alone. Across the unseen, countless others were awakening too, each glowing faintly in the dark, each connected to you through the same web of light. Together, you were forming a constellation of souls, invisible to the eyes, but undeniable to the heart. As your awareness deepened, so did your compassion. You began to understand why some people resist change, because to awaken is to lose the comfort of illusion. You no longer judged those who could not see. You loved them instead, for you had been them once. The chosen one walks both worlds, the seen and the unseen, the known and the mystery. You became a bridge, translating silence into meaning, chaos into pattern, pain into growth. The world needs such bridges now more than ever, and that is why you were awakened when you were. The timing of your transformation was no accident. It was perfectly synchronized with what humanity itself is remembering. You started to live less from fear and more from flow. Intuition replaced calculation. Instead of chasing what you wanted, you aligned with what wanted you. Life began to feel less like struggle and more like dance, though the rhythm was not always easy to follow. The chosen one learns to move with the music even when it changes tempo. When uncertainty comes, you remember that the same intelligence that orchestrated galaxies also guides your steps. You learn to rest in that truth, to breathe into it, to let it carry you where logic cannot. There are moments when you are called to stand still, to wait, to listen. These pauses are not empty. They are integration. The energy that flows through you after awakening must anchor itself into your human experience. You begin to embody what you once only felt. Every act of kindness becomes a sacred gesture. Every word spoken with intention, a ripple in the cosmic field. You start to see service not as sacrifice, but as expression. The chosen one does not need recognition. Their fulfillment is found in the giving itself, in the silent joy of knowing they are part of the great unfolding. In time, you realize that the night that changed everything was not only about your awakening. It was about the awakening of the universe through you. Consciousness evolves by seeing itself, and through your eyes, it sees further. Through your heart, it feels deeper. Through your choices, it creates differently. The chosen are the extensions of creation's own desire to know love in form. You are not outside of that divine impulse. You are its embodiment. When you speak truth, the universe speaks through you. When you love without condition, the universe recognizes itself in that love. Still, humility remains your greatest teacher. For every vision that lifts you higher, there is a moment that brings you back to earth, to remind you that the divine walks best through grounded feet. The chosen one must remember the balance between heaven and soil, between vastness and simplicity. The stars may guide you, but it is the roots that hold you steady. You begin to find holiness in the smallest things, the sound of rain, the warmth of a smile, the taste of water when you are truly present. You see that enlightenment is not escape. It is intimacy with all that is. There will be times when your light triggers resistance in others. Some will misunderstand you, project their fears onto you, or distance themselves because your presence challenges what they are not ready to face. Do not close your heart. This too is part of the path. The chosen are meant to awaken others not by convincing them, but by embodying peace so completely that it calls their own truth to the surface. Your calm becomes a mirror. Your consistency becomes proof. You teach without preaching, lead without demanding, shine without burning. And then one day, without realizing it, you notice that you are no longer seeking the night that changed you. You are living as its continuation. The energy that once felt like a revelation has become your natural state. You walk differently now. The world responds to you as if it recognizes its own consciousness reflected in yours. Synchronicities no longer surprise you. They feel like conversations. Time bends effortlessly around your intention, and what once took struggle now unfolds with quiet certainty. This is mastery, not as the world defines it, but as the soul knows it. Effortless presence. Even in mastery, learning never ends. The chosen one evolves endlessly, for creation itself is infinite. Each new cycle brings subtler lessons, the refinement of love, the expansion of trust, the deepening of surrender. You come to understand that awakening is not about ascending out of the human experience, but descending fully into it with awareness. The more light you embody, the more human you become, not less. Compassion expands, empathy deepens, and you realize that the divine did not awaken you to leave the world behind, but to walk within it as light. You look around and see the same sky that watched over you that night. But now you see it differently. Every star is a reminder, every breath a continuation. You understand now that the night did not change you by accident. It answered a promise your soul made long before time began. A promise to remember, to rise, to return. And you kept it. The moment you opened your heart and allowed the light to enter, you fulfilled that promise. From then on, your life became the echo of that one eternal moment. The journey continues, infinite in its unfolding. Each sunrise is another chance to embody what the night revealed. Each act of love expands the universe a little further. The chosen one knows now that destiny is not written. It is lived, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat. And in that living, the universe itself evolves, growing wiser through your experience, brighter through your courage, more compassionate through your presence. And so you walk forward, luminous and quiet, carrying the memory of that night like a flame that never fades. The world around you may not yet understand, but it feels your light all the same. You are no longer waiting for signs. You have become one. The night that changed everything continues to speak through you, reminding all who cross your path that within the smallest moment lies the power to awaken the infinite. As time moved forward, you began to notice that life no longer unfolded in the linear way it once did. It began to spiral, weaving you through experiences that were both new and ancient, as though you were remembering rather than learning. There were moments when the air itself seemed to shimmer with meaning, when you felt the universe breathe with you. You understood then that existence is not a series of separate moments. It is one continuous pulse, one living rhythm, and you are part of its heartbeat. Every step you take sends ripples through creation, Every choice you make alters the song of the cosmos in ways unseen but profoundly felt. This realization deepened your sense of responsibility, yet it also brought peace. You understood that to walk as the chosen one is not to control life, but to cooperate with it. You stopped fighting the currents that once frightened you. You learned to listen when life whispered, to rest when life slowed, to move when life opened. The chosen one's mastery is not in domination, but in surrender, the kind that is powerful, conscious, and free. In surrender, you found strength greater than any force you had ever tried to summon through effort alone. The universe moves through those who stop resisting it. You began to perceive energy everywhere. The way people spoke carried colors you could feel, not with your eyes, but with the essence of your being. The earth beneath your feet hummed with memory. You could sense the song of trees, the patience of rivers, the silent wisdom of stones. The veil that once separated you from the living intelligence of creation had dissolved completely. The world had always been alive. Now you could finally hear it. And in that hearing, you felt less alone than ever before. Solitude became communion. Silence became conversation. There were still tests, though subtler than before. The universe, ever refining you, began to present you with reflections of your remaining shadows. They came not to punish, but to balance. The chosen one learns that awakening is not the end of healing. It is the beginning of conscious healing. You faced remnants of old fears, echoes of past patterns, fragments of pain that had been buried in lifetimes of forgetting. But now, instead of running from them, you turned toward them with compassion. You met them in the light of awareness, and each time you did, they dissolved. Every healed shadow released more of your energy back to you. You felt lighter, clearer, more whole, and so the journey became less about seeking and more about remembering. You began to live in quiet harmony with what is, no longer striving to transcend the human experience, but to embody it fully, with grace, presence, and truth. The light you once searched for beyond yourself now radiated from within, illuminating every step, every breath, every moment as part of the same divine unfolding.